During the course of the show to date, I've been shark cage diving with Bob Skinstad and Mark Lottering, swum in the Zambezi with Cameron van der Berg, played tennis in London with Pat Cash, and taken on the Harlem Globetrotters on the basketball court. I survived all of that, but going cycling with a Tour de France team, that could be a little tougher. So as you can see, I'm not wearing my usual cleats. It turns out that my cleats and Team Qhubeka pedals are not compatible. Clearly, my cleats are high speed, and theirs are just kind of medium. Doug Ryder, not only the owner of Team Qhubeka, but an Olympian. And as you can see from the physique, like most cyclists, he only eats once a week. That gives him a slight advantage over me, but I'll give it a crack nonetheless. So give us the backstory of Qhubeka. How did this crazy dream of yours to take a South African team to the Tour de France become a reality?
You know, when I went to the Olympics in '96 in Atlanta, and Jazad Tukwani won the marathon at the Olympic Games, and then, you know, chatting to him, thinking, you know, Africa's developed the best endurance runners, so why not cyclists? And, you know, I guess it started then. And then, you know, when we got more and more riders and staff and people around us that, you know, that believed in the dream of potentially taking a team, you know, to the biggest races in the world and the Tour de France, you know, it became a reality, you know, through the people that we had. You know, we wanted to be the best team in South Africa, then the best in Africa, and then see if we can take on the rest of the world. And luckily we had some good riders at that time that believed in it and had the talent to be able to do it, because it was all about them, you know. I mean, you worked so hard and you never think it was going to happen, and there were so many people along the way, you know, in the last 10 years that said, geez, Doug, you know, it's not possible to take an African team to the Tour de France. And yeah, and then in 14th of January 2015, getting that invitation to go, you know, was a dream come true. And lots of guys actually that were on this team in the past, you know, the Malcolm Langers, the good riders of South Africa, you know, they were all happy because they were all a part of making it a dream come true, I guess. So, yeah, and then the preparation for the 6 months coming up. You know, we really knew that if we got to the Tour de France and prepared really well, that we knew that it was absolutely possible to, you know, to do something significant and not just participate, but absolutely compete. And yeah, the rest was history, I guess. You know, with Edvald finishing 5th on the last stage, and Steve Cummings winning the Mandela Day stage, you know, it just shows that this team is meant to be in the World Tour, meant to be at the highest levels in world cycling, and definitely the talent is there. So we wanted to do well and not just, you know, be an African team and make up the numbers.
This team's fueled by many things, by passion, by talent, by excitement. But for me, the biggest factor is good karma, because there's such a unique aspect to this team. Talk to us about Qhubeka and why it's such a fundamental aspect of your team.
No, the Qhubeka charity, you know, gives us that third dimension. It gives this team a purpose, and we've attracted some of the best riders in the world to our team because it is uniquely different. You know, we measure our riders 50% on the bike performance and 50%, you know, of their measurement in terms of their value to this team is what they can do for the charity, how they can integrate with our partners, and most sports teams aren't like that. You know, you know, most sports people in sports teams, irrespective of cycling, it's all about me. What is in it for me? What can I do? And this team has that third dimension. And listening and suffering in the gutter in a cold, rainy classic, and you know, in February or March, you know, they can think about the impact that this team does make.
You've really made the world of cycling sit up and take notice, and you've made cyclists sit up and take notice to the extent that you now have, amongst others, Mark Cavendish on the team. I know, Mark's been an amazing asset to this team. When I met him after the Tour de France, he said that this is the only team in cycling that he wants to be a part of and to join. And I think just to attract a guy like Mark Cavendish shows that this team has come a long way. His profile and his performance will elevate our support for the charity and grow our team in the world rankings. And I think now the next phase of this African dream is to become one of the best teams in the world. It says a lot for the South African team that a cyclist of your magnitude has decided to come and join our African adventure.
Oh, it's brilliant. You know, I think from the outside, it's always looked like a fun team to be part of, you know. And when I spoke to Doug Ryder, like the positive emotions he spoke, the vision he has, it's incredible, it's infectious, you know. But the biggest thing for me was the Qhubeka charity. I was getting 5,000 bicycles a year for children who need them, and we got to see what they did yesterday, and it strives even more. It's riding for a cause. It's not just riding to display a sponsor's logo in a race. We're actually riding for something, and that's quite different now, not just in cycling, but in professional sport. So the partners we have with Dimension Data, with Deloitte, I'm really looking forward to a big future. The team's been on an upward trajectory, and I really think in the next 5 years can be the biggest team in the world.
I'd like to say that I beat Team Qhubeka back to their base, but the fact is they're all still out riding, probably halfway to Oudtshoorn by now, and I managed about 15 minutes trying desperately to keep up, them very leisurely, me at full pace. but a wonderful experience with some of the finest cyclists in the world, an understanding of how quick they are, and coupled with all they're doing for charity in Qhubeka, I think 2016 is going to be an extremely special year for Africa's team.